The rain was falling heavily. It was like driving through a thick curtain of water. He eased off the accelerator a little. He had to be careful driving on a wild night like this. The last thing you'd want to see is an accident or breakdown. You just want to be at home at these stormy nights. The windscreen wipers was hypnotic. He stared out into the glow of the headlights. The rain sounded like a white noise, interfering with the car itself. He was reminded of the opening scenes of a Hitchhiker film. Through the wash of the rain, he spotted a figure at the side of the road. The person wore a green parka and had their thumbs jacked out. Why on earth would anyone be hitchhiking tonight? Surely you would just stay put until the morning. They must have been in a rush to get where they were going. He signaled down and pulled over. The hitchhiker climbed in. He shut the door quickly, glad to be out of the rain. He was somewhere in his mid-20s and had wild red hair and a thick beard. "Awful night, huh?" said the driver. The hitchhiker held his gaze for a long moment. Drops of rainwater trickled down his face. "Yes, it is." The driver pulled out and continued through the storm. The hitchhiker glanced over his shoulder into the blackness behind them. "You okay?" The hitcher simply nodded. They drove in silence for a short while, the BBC radiophone in blaring out from the car's speakers, filled in for conversation. They listened to the radio and their own thoughts as they moved on. "Where are you headed?" asked the driver. "North," the hitcher pointed. "Are you traveling to visit friends?" The driver couldn't tell if that was a yes or a no. He adjusted his tie nervously. The hitchhiker stared at him in his suit and tie. The hitchhiker seemed scruffy in comparison to his parka and Pink Floyd t-shirt. "Do you walk around here?" asked the hitcher. "Yes," said the driver. "I was stuck late at office. You know how it is." "No, not really." Again, they drifted into silence. The talk radio show carried on as they drove through the wind and rain. The hitcher shifted in his seat and stared out the windscreen. "No music?" the hitcher asked. "What?" "Is there any music we could listen to?" "I like talk radio shows. I'm not really a music fan." The hitcher eyes glazed over for a moment. Then he spoke. "I like listening to music. It calms me down." The driver said nothing. Several miles later, a newsman interrupted with a report. The reporter tried to remain professional as she read the announcement.
"We're getting reports that a patient has escaped from a Manchester psychiatric institution. The man is said to be psychopathic and is said to have a history of murder."
The hitcher suddenly switched the radio channel. Tiny pop music blotted out from the speakers. The driver stared at his passenger, his question, and asked, "I hate the news." answered the hitcher. It is so depressing. It brings me down. There is never any good news, is there? The driver did not reply. Don't worry, I'm not the killer, said the hitcher, fidgeting with his clock. No, said the driver. No, of course you aren't. They drove on, listening to the crappy pop music and overexcited radio DJs. And the rain pounded on the car. What do you do for a living? Asked the driver. The hitcher was quiet for a moment. Then he grinned. I am a writer. Really? How interesting. Have you had anything published? No. As yet, I am an undiscovered artist. I'm sure you will make it. What are you working on at the moment? I'm writing a novel. Yes? It is about a serial killer. The driver did not speak. He flicked the talk radio station back on. A man was rambling on with himself. Around the changing days, his wilder pains were emptied. Where can I drop you? Asked the driver. The hitcher said nothing. When the driver glanced around, his passenger had his eyes closed. He was either asleep or feigning slumber. They drove on through the storm, down the snaking lanes. An hour later, the storm still growled and raged. The hitcher looked out of the window. The driver steered the car in silence. Another news report came over the radio.
We are getting more information on the escaped patient. The killer's name is Simon Hughes. He escaped from the Green Patriots Institute earlier this evening. He is extremely dangerous and completely unpredictable. Simon Hughes made his escape by changing from his hospital-issue uniform into a suit and tie, and pretending to be one of the medical staff. He stole a car and drove off.
What did you say your name was? My name is Simon. They just stared in shock. Simon grinned. The headlights of a passing car glinted off the knife's blade in Simon's hand.